web, any size, catches thieves, just like flies. Look out, here comes the Spider-Man. Is he strong? Listen, bud, he's got radioactive blood. Can he swing from a thread? Take a look overhead. Hey there goes the Spider-Man. In the chill of night, at the scene of a crime, by the street of lights, he arrives just in time. Spider-Man, Spider-Man, friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Welcome back, he's ignored. Action is his reward to him. Life is a great big bang. Wherever there's a hang, you'll find a Spider-Man.
All right, how's it going, everybody? Mr. Poestyle here, and I'm supposed to talk about other rad stuff, and I always forget to do that. I haven't done that for a while. It's usually all about the retro video games and the retro video game feels. But I got something today in the mail that I ordered early in the week, maybe last weekend, might have been a week ago. And these guys pop up in Facebook ads. I think that's how I discovered them, and I've actually discovered them a while back. I couldn't tell you how many years or how long it's been. But that's classictvshop.net, classictvshop.net. And what they do is they put a lot of more obscure things they sell on Blu-ray. I'm not sure if DVD is something that they sell as well. It probably is. I should have checked that again right quick. But they have a lot of old shows that you might have never heard of, or you heard of and forgot about. I know one of them was Dr. Shrinker, and me and my brothers and my sister, they're older than me, we loved watching that back in the day. I think that was a Croft show. But Dr. Shrinker, they had it for a while on Blu-ray there. It might still be on there too. I really need to look at their shop a little better. But there's also a lot of stuff on there, like I said, that you may have never heard of. But it'll jog your memory going to their site, classictvshop.net. It arrived today. This is something I've looked at over the years on eBay or Amazon, and it's expensive as Hades. And now you can get it for a good price through them. And that's the Blu-ray, every single episode of The Amazing Spider-Man, Spider-Man the 67 collection. You all know about this one way or the other. One way is if you watched this back in the day. I'm not from 67. I'm not 54 years old. That's the year that my oldest sibling, my sister, was born, 67. I was born in 73, so this was off the air officially. No brand new episodes. Long before I was born in 73. But syndication, man, that's how I knew about it. And this is it. It's on Blu-ray. This is all of the official episodes here. All 52 episodes are included here. There's 2 discs on this Blu-ray, on these Blu-ray discs. And I haven't popped them in to watch them yet, but I am going to just as soon as I get a chance. If I get a chance, so maybe Thanksgiving morning, next time I'm off, maybe I'll check these bad boys out. Because I loved this show as a kid. And like I said, by the time I watched it, it was in syndication, of course. The initial run, the original run, was 67 through 1970, I believe. Saturday mornings on ABC, the first 2 seasons were. The 3rd season was in syndication from the start. So, like I said, I didn't watch it when it originally aired, but definitely watched it in syndication. Let me see here. Now, when I watched these, more likely in the 80s, probably a little bit in the 70s, but in the 80s, before we got cable TV at my house, and it took us a while. We didn't get cable TV until I think my parents finally got it in 1989 when I was the last kid at home. I was a sophomore in high school, 10th grade by that point. So we had, in our area, east of Pittsburgh, we didn't even have an antenna on our house, for the love of God. We had rabbit ears. And we got in, Channel 2 was our CBS, Channel 4 was our ABC. We had 2 NBCs, the same exact thing pretty much except for the newscasters. We had Channel 6, that was NBC from Pittsburgh, and Channel 11 was NBC from Johnstown. We're kind of in between the two of them. And we had PBS, which was our Channel 13. And the UHF channels that we got eventually, we got over the rabbit ears if you turn them just right and put the tin foil or aluminum foil on them, were Channel 22 and Channel 53. And later on, once Fox became a network, that's what 53 became. I think 22 became WGN in Pittsburgh years later down the road. But it was either Channel 53 or 22. Those were the two that showed cartoons after school. And definitely 22 had Captain Pitt, was our local little celebrity, you know, and he would host a show. He was Captain Pitt down in Pittsburgh. He had a little captain's hat on and stuff, and he would show cartoons and stuff. But I can remember being at home sick from school, and usually that meant that I was watching probably like a Sesame Street and Mr. Rogers in the morning on PBS. Would end up watching Family Feud and The Price is Right later on in the day if I was at home sick. And then you had your repeats of things that were on the UHF channels for a while there, like I Dream of Jeannie, the Beverly Hillbillies, Gomer Pyle, Hogan's Heroes, those kind of things. But one of those channels would show the old 67 collection of Spider-Man. And you all know it. If not from watching it, you know it from the theme song that is iconic. Spider-Man, Spider-Man, does whatever a spider can. That's what this came from. And if you're really young watching this, you know the memes from this. There's a lot of memes from this cartoon series with Spider-Man seeing himself. There's two Spider-Mans in it. A bunch of different ones were made. Spider-Man's sick in bed, like in a hospital bed, but he's in full Spider-Man costume. He's not laying there as Peter Parker. But these were great. I loved these. Mysterio looked awesome in them, you know. The music in it, the jazzy music was great, I thought. And Spider-Man was my favorite hero at the time. I had a subscription with my paper out throughout the 80s. And at the time, eventually, I think there were 3 Spider-Man titles that came out every month. That was, you know, The Amazing Spider-Man, The Spectacular Spider-Man, and then The Web of Spider-Man always seemed a little darker. You know, so I followed Spider-Man through all of that stuff. You know, when he's fighting the Hobgoblin. Ned Leeds was the Hobgoblin. And then eventually Ned Leeds got killed and Jack-o'-lantern became the Hobgoblin. And then Inferno happened and all hell broke loose and there was demons on Earth. And they made the Hobgoblin into a real Hobgoblin, no longer a mask. Secret Wars, when Spider-Man first got the black costume, the alien costume that eventually became Venom as we know him and separated or whatever it did into Carnage. I was reading all that stuff at the time and I absolutely loved it. There's a great comic book that was out at the time that I had and still have. It was the What If series, and it was like, what if the alien suit had taken over Peter Parker and essentially it sucked his essence out. Peter Parker became an old man and died. And it moved on, and I think it ended up taking over the Hulk and Thor, and it just looked awesome, you know, the suit on them, and was sucking their juices out. I'm getting way off topic here, but I don't care. I loved Spider-Man at the time. That's the point of it. I thought it was an awesome comic, and, you know, I was also I was into Iron Man. I would buy those comics separate, didn't really subscribe to them. There was a Logan, I loved those. I bought a ton of those. You know, Wolverine as Logan. Not so many of the X-Men comics, but I liked the Logan ones a lot. There was a small mini-series, I think it was only 4 comics about Iceman. And I liked Iceman from the later 1980s, Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. That was a great cartoon, I thought. That one was in the 80s. I think right before they made it him and His Amazing Friends, it was another Spider-Man cartoon for maybe 1 season. And then it became about him and Iceman and Firestar. And then, of course, the 90s one that everybody knows that Neil Patrick Harris voiced Peter Parker Spider-Man in. But this was one that I loved. And it was a budget show back then, 67. When you had cartoons on for kids, it was Saturday mornings, sometimes a little into Sunday mornings. You would have things, maybe before church, you watched a few things. That's when we would watch things like, I don't even remember what all, we watched Hercules, and we would watch The Impossibles, I think it was, and what was it? Was it Frankenstein Jr.? Those kind of things, Shazam. But Spider-Man would be on in the afternoons on this UHF channel. And if I was home from school sick, like I said, I would watch my game shows and this and that. And Spider-Man would come on. Spider-Man, Spider-Man, does whatever a spider can. Spins a web any size, catches thieves just like flies. Look out. And I thought it was great. And sometimes they would have like one of his episodes and Spider-Woman's episodes on. Now, I don't know if any of those are on here. I don't think that they are. It'd be cool if they were, but I don't think there are any of the Spider-Woman ones on there. But I would watch those, of course, too. So being home from school sick was pretty awesome. That's the kind of thing I would do until the NES came out. And then when I was home sick, if I wasn't real sick and passed out in bed, I was playing Kid Icarus and the like on my NES while everybody else, my brothers, were at school. I thought that was pretty funny. By the time the NES came out, or by the time I had it, my sister graduated in '85, so she was already out of school. But my brothers were still in school, and I would stay at home sick. That's when I actually beat Kid Icarus originally on my NES, was when I was home sick. But in Kung Fu, I think I beat that when I was home sick one day. Mr. X, and then I just started over. But this was a great show, and it's been out of print for a long time. They had the DVD collection, which was 6 DVDs, and if you look it up now on eBay, it's going anywhere from, I did see one for like $80 or $90 on there. I don't know if it's the actual DVDs or if somebody burnt them. I've seen it up close to $200 for that set, and you'll see the same thing on Amazon, or at least I did in the past years when I looked it up. It's expensive because it's out of print. This hasn't been broadcast, these episodes, on television from what I've seen and on Wikipedia since 2004. And that's when the second Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire came out. I guess ABC Family did a marathon. They also did it in 2002 when the first Spider-Man movie with Tobey Maguire came out. They did just a marathon of these cartoons on ABC Family. So it hasn't aired officially on television since 2004. And I didn't see them then when they were airing this. I haven't watched these since the 80s, but it's always been there that I wanted to watch them. You know, like I said, Mysterio and all of them always look cool to me. And what am I trying to say here? Like I said, it was a budget show, so they reused a lot of backgrounds, a lot of animation. They even borrowed from another show for some of the episodes, from what I read, and just superimposed the Spider-Man cells over top of, or took away, some other character, put Spider-Man in those cartoons. You'll notice that Spider-Man only has the webs on his costume, on his hands, his face, and I think his feet in some of them, but the torso doesn't have the webs because they didn't draw them because it was a budget. They had to hurry up with it. You have a lot of the same exact scenes over, just like the Flintstones did when Fred's walking in his house and you see the same backgrounds over and over again. It was time-saving, and it saved them money. Spider-Man swinging on his web through New York City, stock footage or whatever that they could use over and over again. Same backgrounds. But it was really cool at the time. You didn't have a Spider-Man show from, before that. Later you had the Live Stars, I think, in the late 70s, very short-lived Spider-Man television show. But this was great. Check it out if you get a chance. Go to classictvshop.net. It's right there on the back. And like I said, that's 52 episodes there. I don't think the Spider-Woman episodes are there. I thought there was a crossover or a couple of them with Spider-Man and Spider-Woman from these back when I was a kid, and it was showing here in the Pittsburgh area. I could be wrong. I know sometimes you had a Spider-Man cartoon and then a Spider-Woman cartoon. I don't think it was ever like 2 Spider-Woman cartoons. It would be like a half-hour show, and I think 2 episodes each. I could be wrong on that too. It's been a long, long time. I'm very happy to finally get this in my video collection and check it out. So now I just got to find some free time, because I'm sure, I know my wife isn't going to watch it. My kids probably won't really give a shat either, so I'll be watching this on my own. Check out their website if you're interested in it. Like I said, they have a lot of other shows that either never got an official Blu-ray DVD release, or they did, but they're out of print. They got a lot of cool stuff there. So check it out. What more do I have to say about this? Nothing. It's awesome. I love Spider-Man. I can't wait to check this out. Hopefully it doesn't turn out to be super terrible. You know, it's probably not going to be as great as like the 90s series and this and that, of course, because they just didn't have the technology back then. But like I said, you don't even have webs on Spider-Man's torso. The first season of it, I don't know, I guess it was an accident or whatever. The spider on Spider-Man's chest only has 6 legs. And later they made that into 8 legs. So you'll see that. And they reused some of that footage in the other 2 seasons, where if you see the 6 legs in season 2 and 3, they just reused something from season 1. And check out the Wikipedia article on it as well. Cool stuff there. Was there anything else? I love Spider-Man. Does whatever a spider can. I think there was something else, and I don't remember. It's been a long, long day. All right, guys, let me know down in the comments down below. Do you remember this show? What are your fond memories of the show? Maybe they're not fond memories. Do you know the memes? If you're younger, you know the memes probably. A few years ago, they were kind of popular. But we should all know the song. I think we all know the song. They even brought it back in a lot of the movies. Where we had now, since this all started in the 2000s, 3 different actors. Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, Tom Holland, I think his name is. I don't know. Something like that. Losing track myself. Also, the show of The Electric Company used to have a live-action Spider-Man back in the day. Spider-Man never actually talked. They would put comic bubbles above his head. And it was The Electric Company. It was a educational children's television show. So it was cheesy. It wasn't violent. But when Spider-Man would talk, he would be like, woo! And then they would show a bubble of what he was saying or what he was thinking. You know, weird sounds. But let me know what you think down below. This is my touching on other rad things. Spider-Man, the 1967 collection on Blu-ray. 52 episodes, all of the episodes. I haven't watched it yet myself. I will. And it's 2 discs. And a reasonable price. I'm trying to think. I think it was in the $40 somewhere. That'd be pretty important for me to state here, huh? It was in the 40s somewhere, right? It's not $90 to $200. So if that's what you want, if you want this, as far as I know, it's not streaming. Not streaming anywhere legally right now. Could be somewhere illegally. Who knows? Probably everything is out there somewhere. We'll see you on the next video, guys. The next video, I am about 98% sure, will be retro video game related. That's it. See you later, guys. Thanks for watching. Oh, Nacho. Come here, Nacho. No biting. No bite. Ooh, no biting. Oh, Nacho, stop.